After more than 2 years under Daesh control, Iraq's second largest city could soon be liberated. Mosul is the group's last major stronghold in the country, and retaking it could mean the end of Daesh in Iraq. In the early hours of Monday, Iraqi troops, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters and Shia militias backed by the US-led coalition began advancing on Mosul. But while the aim is to free people there, the UN says it's extremely concerned for Mosul's more than 1 million residents. The offensive is the biggest military operation in Iraq since 2003, when the US invaded the country in a mission that would eventually topple Saddam Hussein. The Iraqi Prime Minister announced the launch of the campaign on state TV.
The hour of victory has arrived, and operations for the liberation of Mosul have begun. I announce today the start of these heroic operations to free you from the terror and the oppression of Daesh, and God willing, soon we will meet on Mosul soil to celebrate liberation and your salvation, and we will live once again with all our religions and sects together.
And following that announcement, U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter said in a statement that this is a decisive moment in the campaign to deliver ISIL a lasting defeat. We are confident our Iraqi partners will prevail against our common enemy and free Mosul and the rest of Iraq from ISIL's hatred and brutality. TRT World's Alican Ayanlar is live in Khazer in northern Iraq. Alican, the battle is at its early stages. Has there been any direct engagement between Iraqi troops and Daesh terrorists?
Well, Annalise, I can tell you that we're actually perched up on a mountaintop just 4 kilometers east of Mosul, Iraq's second largest city. And since the early hours of Monday morning, we've been hearing heavy artillery and howitzers go off fire in the direction of Mosul. So yes, there has been some heavy artillery firing in the direction of Daesh. But when you look at this operation to retake Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, from 2 years of Daesh control, it looks like it's going to be a very complicated and complex one for the Iraqi army. Not only is there an uneasy mix of the groups on the ground, you have the National Army, you have the Kurdish Peshmerga forces, as well as the Iranian-backed Shia militias, all fighting for one common goal: to defeat Daesh. But there's also a delicate balance on the ground in terms of the ethnic composition of Mosul. And then you actually have one Iraqi commander who said before the assault that they still heavily relied on coalition air power and intelligence to regain territory. So the Iraqi army's situation is actually quite depleted. And once they get to the perimeter of the city, they are expected to encounter various obstacles. We know that Daesh has dug several trenches around the city, around the perimeter, some even as long as 10-15 kilometers long, and they've actually filled it up with oil and lit it, and the black smoke rising as a result of this lighting is actually impeding, making it difficult for that very critical intelligence, aerial intelligence, to be gathered. And once these troops, these coalition troops, enter the city, there is a fear that innocent civilians could be used as human shields, and as well as the hundreds, if not thousands, of booby traps that Daesh is thought to have put up. So a very difficult task in front of these troops.
And the battle is expected to be long and difficult. And as you mentioned, Alican, with so many different groups of fighters, how difficult will it be for these forces to coordinate their efforts?
Coordination is the one thing, but also once the city is liberated, it's very important is how the city is liberated. And that's one of the key things to actually break the backbone of Daesh inside of Iraq. Now, some circles say that one of the main reasons why Daesh became such a strong force in this part of Iraq was because of the early withdrawal of American troops. Keep in mind that back in 2009, the U.S. President Barack Obama, when he came into power, there was about 140,000 U.S. troops based in the country. Within 2 years, by the year 2011, that number had actually dwindled down to several hundred. And because of that, Daesh was able to use that vacuum, to use that void to actually come in there and build upon that quote-unquote caliphate. So liberating the city, Iraq's second largest city, is the main goal here, but probably just as important is how the city is governed after the city's liberation.
Alican Ayanlar live for us from near Mosul.